Hi, this is Kelly, your certified health coach.
And this is Scarlett, your life coach here in the Valley of the Sun. Welcome to Hot in Arizona.
Yeah.
And here in the mobile studio, today it's 113, and it is like 7 in the evening that we're doing this.
Hot.
Right? It's craziness. It is craziness. And my nose itches.
Mine too.
But it's totally crazy.
What if that means something? Are we going to get
I know,
money
right?
or something? Oh, that's your hand.
That's your hand. And I think it's your left hand. I always panic when my right one itches. I'm like, no! Has to be the left. Oh, we have a special guest with us today.
Yes, we do. We're so excited.
Totally excited. Totally excited. This is somebody who is so near and dear to our hearts.
Yes,
we love her so much.
We love her.
Yes, this is our friend Pat. So she has joined us today because we've kind of been talking about dating and the whole relationship thing. And, I always admire people who have really good relationships.
Me too.
Those that they've been together for a while, and maybe it's not sometimes it's not even a first marriage.
Right.
Sometimes it's better the second time around.
Yep.
For me, 3 strikes, I'm out. I'm done. Out. But I wanted to talk with Pat because I think that she has like one of the sweetest love stories.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, first off, I love her husband.
He's
oh
great.
my gosh.
He's great.
He is just
super sweet.
Adorable. And the thing I love the most about him, and I hope I don't cry, not wearing waterproof mascara, but the thing I love the most about him is the way that he loves her.
Right, exactly.
The way he loves her and the way he provides for her and the relationship they have, the partnership that they have.
Total respect for each other.
Oh, God. It just makes your heart swell, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
That is what I want more than anything, right? If I'm just not good at picking the right person. We talked about this.
Talked about that,
right?
Yeah.
Just not good at picking
We both have bad pickers.
that person.
Bad pickers.
Bad. I mean, why do I marry these guys? I don't know. They weren't good then. They're not good now. Why? Why did I say yes? And the other thing you and I were talking about just a little bit ago was I've never been properly proposed to.
Yeah.
It was never, to me, you see these wonderful proposals and they're very unique and they've put a lot of thought into it. My first husband, I was like 17, I think. And he was just, you're going to marry me. He was 19. And he's like, you're going to. And my grandmother, I'm like screaming because he wouldn't let me go. And my grandmother's like, what the hell's going on here? And I said, he won't let me go. And she said, she has to agree to marry me. My grandma's like, she married you? So, of course, I did.
So then, of course, you're like, oh, yes, I am.
I had to, right? I had to. Yeah. I was like, watch me. And then I don't even remember my second husband. I remember, he was a gambler, and he happened to have a good day at the track. Yeah, and so he brought
That's
home
romantic.
this beautiful ring.
Oh.
It was gorgeous. He had designed it.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it was, and I love blue's my favorite, So it had blue sapphires, it had white sapphires,
Wow.
and a beautiful solitaire in the middle.
Nice.
It was gorgeous. And he comes home and he just like hands me this box. I was putting away clothes. So this is romantic as heck already, right? And I opened it and I saw the ring. I was so shocked. I just dropped it. I was like, what the heck is that? This poor guy didn't earn any money. He was in the military. He didn't make any money. And all I could think of was, great, now what do I have to pay for?
Right.
And but he was like, oh, I won money at the track. I was like, again, super romantic.
So romantic.
Super. I'm like, okay, so I guess this means we're going to get married, yeah? And then the third one, I thought he was breaking up with me. And he was like, well, we've been together 6 months. Like, is that a rule? Is that a rule? You're like together 6 months, so
you got to get married?
Got to get married.
Hmm.
And again, I said yes and couldn't even tell you why.
Huh.
Because I remember right after I said it, I thought, what have I done? What have I done? Do I take it back? Can I take it back?
Can I keep the ring, though?
It won't go that far. It'll be okay. We're not really going to go through with it. And then like a few months later, we were married. And I thought, oh, crap. Now what? It's just, I don't know. I would just love for somebody to just be, you don't necessarily, I don't want like cheesy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want, like at a restaurant and,
Yeah, that's weird.
To me, that's
weird.
I don't know. But just something that would mean something to me.
Right. Right.
That, I don't know. How did Tom propose to you?
Hey, do you think we should get married?
Oh, maybe. Sure, why not?
Yeah, it was just kind of weird. It was just like this. The words were never said. We just kind of like went through this natural progression. It was like we went out on a blind date, and then 3 weeks later,
I was going to say it happened really fast.
Yeah, our first date was December 1st, and then December 21st or 22nd, one of those 2 days, we were going to a Christmas party.
Wow.
And he's like, do you believe in early Christmas gifts? I go, I don't know why. He goes,
Maybe.
And he hands me this little box, and it was a sapphire ring, because that's my birthstone.
Right.
It was just a little tiny sapphire ring. And he goes, Merry Christmas, and this is kind of like a promise ring. And so we basically got engaged, and he never really said the words, will you marry me? It just kind of went on. We were getting married. I mean, it was just...
we're doing this.
Yeah. So we always say, well, we got engaged three weeks after we met. So
that's crazy.
And we met through his brother. I worked with his brother at the sheriff's department, and
you know what's funny is, honestly, it does not matter. Now, for me, you have completely different circumstances, okay? And Tom passed away. Who knows how long it could have gone.
Right.
For me, it did not matter whether I was engaged for 6 months or 3 years. None of them lasted. It didn't matter how well I thought I knew the person. Turns out I didn't know them at all. So I don't know. I wish that could have been different. And I don't know. I think maybe if you have, or in my case, I think if I did have somebody who would have cared enough to propose in a way that was meaningful. Who knows? Because that way, I would think that is a person who truly wants to be with you, who truly is interested in you, to know
you.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. The last guy when I had a relationship with, I thought we were headed towards that.
Yeah.
Because the things that he would say, he'd be like, well, I'd go to San Diego to visit him, and he'd say, isn't this a great place to have a wedding? He'd say things like that, and I'd be like, okay. Know? And the next thing I know, he's breaking up with me, and I'm like, I'm confused.
Right. Yeah. Weren't you? Oh, it wasn't my wedding.
My wedding, yeah. Oh, it was her wedding. Okay.
I see. Gotcha. Yeah, that is, I wish they would say what they mean and mean what they say.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
But the thing that, and why I wanted to bring Pat, again, her relationship with her husband, I totally admire.
Something to aspire to.
Right? Right. I was just, it's like, really? He doesn't have a single brother? Really?
Yeah.
Can we clone him? Would he mind? He wouldn't mind. He's a good guy. He wouldn't mind.
He's a good guy.
He is a good guy. And I think sometimes that is, a lot of women will overlook the good guy.
Absolutely.
I always tell my son, because my son is a good guy, and he would get frustrated because these girls would break up with him and go with a guy who was abusive. And he's like, what the heck? And I said, trust me, it'll happen. You're young, it will happen. You do not want to be the abusive guy.
No.
Because those kind of women are not the women you want.
Well, and it goes both ways too, because the men will break up with a good woman
Right.
to date the crazy lady.
Right?
So,
how many times does that
I
happen?
don't even understand.
Oh my gosh. But I want to bring Pat in because I am in love with her love story.
Yeah.
And I want to share it. But of course, I can't tell it.
It's not ours to tell.
Well, and not only that, even when she's telling it, I get all weepy.
Right.
You know? It's like, and then, oh my God. And then he did this. But you know how I'm about movies, right? Every single one. What do? I quote a movie somewhere, right?
You do.
I love movies. And this, Pat, would you mind? Do you mind sharing that story of how you met him and how he asked you to share your life with him?
Okay. Well, first off, the woman he was dating prior to me broke up with him because he did not want to get married. And so he did not anticipate ever getting married again, and I was usually the one to rabbit from relationships, but I had gotten to a point where I thought maybe I actually had prayed about it. Maybe I'm ready to consider the possibility of probably seeking out a raise.
Maybe,
Probably.
yeah. I might think about it.
Yeah, that was it.
I might potentially.
And so mutual friends set us up, and I wouldn't even go out with him for over a month. We just talked on the phone. He lived in Tucson, and then I had a conference in Chicago, and he thought, yeah, right, that's a great way to get rid of me, is to say you had a conference in Chicago. So then conversations turned into long conversations, and then we went on a date, and we actually got married the 1-year anniversary of our first date. And,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well,
That is
because
awesome.
when we were setting the date, he asked me if we could just make sure it wasn't during spring training or the Final Four. No, he did, really. So that
The important thing.
yeah,
Right.
he made me promise
Exactly.
that. He made me promise that.
Yeah.
And so at the time, he was co-host of a morning radio show in Tucson, and I lived up in Phoenix. And anybody who knows me knows that I am Ed Harris's #1 fan.
Oh, yes.
I tease that he is my hall pass, but not really, because I adore my husband. And one of my favorite movies is the movie with Stepmom with Susan Sarandon and Julia Roberts.
Oh my God, I cried
It's such a
during
good
that movie.
It's a good
And
movie.
the proposal scene in there. And I really did not harp on it. I think I had just commented on what a sweet proposal scene that was. And so the way we worked it is that I would always listen to his show in the morning on my drive to work, depending on what the signal was. Sometimes I could
Right.
listen to it.
The wind had to be blowing in the right direction.
Right. If it was during the winter,
Yeah.
I couldn't hear his show, but in
Right.
during the spring, summer, and fall, I could. And so I would listen to the show, and then I'd call in, usually as a caller. And
Wow.
he said, "Call me when you get to the office." And I thought that was kind of odd. And he says, "No, just call me when you get to the office." Realizing now he's probably afraid if you proposed while I was driving, I would drive off the road. And so anyway, so I listened, and then I pulled into the office and rushed into my office, and I called him, and so I was on air, and he and his co-host John were talking about their weekends, and John asked him what he had done that weekend, and David talked about how he had visited his sons out in California, And then he started talking about something else, about marriage and how the thread, and how he had allowed that thread to break once and he wasn't going to let it break again. And I realized that that was very familiar to me.
I'm getting goosebumps.
I know, right?
And he was actually quoting verbatim the proposal scene from the movie Stepmom.
Oh my! See, that's a man who pays attention.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
And
That is a man that pays attention.
and so he ended it by saying, "Will you marry me?" And then it was dead silence. And afterwards, he told me how he thought he was so nervous because he thought he had blown it or something. And so then John came in and said, "You're asking Pat, right? Not me." And so then, and I said, "Yes, of course, of course."
Oh.
And what he had done is he had rented that movie, and he had replayed that scene over and over again to make sure that he had that down.
That's so
And
sweet.
so, yeah.
So
See,
amazing.
that is. And how long have you guys been married?
We have been together 16 years and
Wow.
15 and a half. And at our wedding, Dave's vows were very sweet and romantic and had everybody in tears. And and what I said was, I said, because like I said, we got married the one year anniversary of our first date, and I said I knew that I had loved him my whole life. I just didn't know what he had looked like until a year before.
That's awesome.
And and that was it. And
See, that's what I want. That's
Yeah.
what I want.
yeah.
yeah,
You know, it's like in The
Yeah.
Office
yeah.
when he said, you know, that he thought he was just meeting a receptionist. Little did he know he was
Yeah.
waiting for his wife.
Right.
You know, and that's
Yeah.
she knew who he was.
Mm-hmm.
She just hadn't met him, and
He's
Yeah.
my person.
he truly is. I think he's an amazing man. Seriously, sometimes I feel a little bit uncomfortable gushing about him because it's her husband.
Right.
But I love him, and again, like I said,
He's a good guy.
what I love most is the way he loves her.
Right. Exactly.
It is so important to have that respect, and he does respect her
Yes.
because she's got a busy life.
A busy life, and you know, it takes a real man to love a feminist.
Yes, it does. And you know, there's so many times, really, if he were the wrong guy, there were a lot of times that he could walk.
Right.
On
'Cause
paper,
she's-
on paper, we do not make sense.
No, you make no sense on
Oh,
paper.
No one would ever put us
Ever.
together.
No.
Ever.
We would never match up on a
If
dating
you-
app.
If
We would
you
never.
ever, if you ever saw his Facebook post, knowing him and knowing her, you'd be like, oh
No.
my God, are they fighting?
Are they
Yeah,
fighting?
But, and
We-
yet,
no one would ever put us together.
no, not at all.
No.
But again, I think it's that respect.
Exactly.
I think it's that love that is really, it just seemed to be missing in a lot of my relationships. And I don't know. It's like at first they respect, and maybe I just don't know how to maintain that respect. I mean, I hate to put you on the spot, Pat, but how do you, being so different, how do you keep that level of respect? Is it strictly just out of pure love? Is it your own personal code of ethics that there are just certain things you don't do to hurt that person?
Well, first off, we have a covenant marriage, okay, which means we actually got a covenant marriage license, which means no matter what, you know, we're in it for the long run, and so our faith is at the forefront and the center.
I think that's very important.
And no
absolutely.
matter what, and there are some things that I know I'm not going to change him on,
Right.
and he's not going to change me on. We didn't get married, you know, my first marriage I was very young, like you were, and there's some things we're not going to change each other
Right.
on, and I like being able to offer him a new perspective as he does for me, and it comes down to the respect for it, and I just love that. Now I also put that in our wedding vows that we are totally different,
Right.
and
Right.
I just like I like him.
That's
I
awesome.
love
That's
him.
important.
Yes.
I love him, but I like who he is, and he makes me laugh more than anybody else ever has.
Right.
But I genuinely like who he is, and I respect him.
Right. And I
that's
think
it.
that is, you do recognize that all these things are what make him him,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
you like him. So
yeah.
you like all of those things.
Yeah.
You're not going to pick apart and say, well, this one I want to change, because you recognize that all of that makes him who he is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I do think that is really, really important. And he feels the same about you. He knows that this whole picture is what he likes, and that not every, but my first two husbands, even though they liked these things about me, they both admitted to setting about to changing them once we were married.
Oh yeah.
And one of them told me that he needed to knock me off my pedestal, and the other one told me that he wanted to break me.
What the heck? That's,
Because I was, I can be a little hard-headed.
no.
I know.
What?
I know.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. and I'm a little set in my ways, and yes, sometimes I'm spoiled and selfish, but to say those things,
Yeah, that's terrible.
I was engaged before Dave, between my last marriage, and that person was extremely jealous of that. And yet Dave celebrates my victories as I do him.
wow.
My checklist is different when I got married this time around.
Yeah.
Much different than it was when I was 18 and when I got divorced in my mid-20s. Extremely different than it was when I married Dave in my mid-40s.
Oh yeah.
Extremely different.
My gosh.
Extremely
Yeah.
different.
Well, you look at life so differently.
Yes.
When you're older, it's
and
absolutely.
But he celebrates my victories and I do his, and
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is
I also, in addition to loving him, I like him.
Yeah.
That's so.
Yeah.
I like
That's the
him.
key right there.
I think that's
mean,
really important.
You really have to have a friendship.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
When people say your spouse can't be your best friend,
That's
no,
a lie.
No.
he's my
I
best
And
think
that's
friend.
the way
need
it
to
should
be.
be.
Yeah.
I think it should be that.
Especially because, when everything else around you disappears, if you have children that grow up, move away, you're stuck with this person.
Right.
You better like this person. They better be your best friend.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, they are your biggest cheerleader. They need to be.
Yep.
Yeah.
Plus, he's a cutie patootie.
He is.
He's a cutie
Seriously. He is. Again, I feel uncomfortable because it's your
No,
husband.
you can
But
say it because he is a cutie patootie.
he really is a very attractive man. Yeah, he is. He
He
Yeah,
is.
he's
cutie.
one of those guys.
Yeah.
He gets better with age. Too.
He does. He doesn't look his age.
No.
No.
No. He
He's-
doesn't.
He's very, very
Yeah.
handsome. He's got great skin.
Yeah.
Is he Mediterranean?
Well, yeah. That's
Yeah.
That
He just-
we've done the ancestry. Yeah, and a
He's-
few surprises came back. So
Got
yeah.
really nice skin and a really nice tone, and he just looks younger than what he is. But yeah. Well, I really, really appreciate you sharing that. I would
Thank you.
love to have you back with us
Yeah.
at another time, because there are so many things that I really, really love your outlook on and completely respect your ideas. And so we would love to have you back if you would be
Absolutely.
willing.
Always. I love
I do
spending time with
appreciate
you
it.
too.
Thank you.
I'm so happy that you're here.
So that kind of brings us to what is hot in Arizona.
It was hot.
What is hot in
It was hot,
Arizona?
wasn't it?
It was very hot. But this kind of goes back to Pat and her husband.
Mm-hmm.
Pat's a vegetarian.
Yep.
Her husband's a metasaurus. And yet, it works.
Yep.
It works. But tonight, we went vegan.
Yeah, we did.
And we went to a place that just opened up. It was their soft opening. So I guess they're going to be doing a bigger grand opening. But this was a soft opening of the Village at Glendale.
Yes.
Now, they have purchased a couple of homes, I guess, in the beautiful historic part of Glendale. And they have opened a vegan restaurant. And then next to that, they have brought in these different vendors. It's located at 7145 North 58th Drive. And if you follow us at Hot in Arizona on Instagram, I will be posting pictures of them, the location, and the things that we saw. And keep an eye out for the Instagram stories, because I took a little bit of video also. It was really very good. The food, they had different vendors. They had some people set up around the courtyard, and then they also had the restaurant set up. We did not go into the restaurant. We hung out in the courtyard, and then they had, I guess it was like the garage or something that was set up.
I think it was the garage, yeah.
Yeah, some little casita or something. Probably the garage, because I think the courtyard was the driveway. But we went in, and it was fantastic. They had vendors for CBD oil. They had jewelry vendors. Bracelet alert. They had jewelry. They had, oh my gosh, they had this big old muffin here. This is carrot cake, and it's flippin' huge, ginormous. Super yummy, super moist, gluten-free, but it did have sugar, but it is still fantastic. We also had some Cajun food.
Cajun
my
chips.
gosh.
The Cajun chips were delicious.
They were amazing. Amazing. It was Maya's Cajun Kitchen or something. Fantastic food. Pat and I each had po' boys. It was chickenless satay with pickles and tomatoes and lettuce and a sauce on top. Fantastic.
Get your money's worth.
You really do. You really do get your. I mean, the po' boy seriously
they were big,
was
yeah.
ginormous.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I have half of it left. It's just too much. But so I highly recommend it.
Yeah, it was so much fun. I can't wait till it cools down. when we
Right.
get back.
Once it
Yeah.
cools down, that place is going to be hopping. So get on out there. You don't have to be vegan. This is great food.
Yeah.
It is so yummy. Although, we could sit here and argue the point that it's better for you. But we're not going to do that today.
No cost to get in. It was free.
Yeah,
It was
free.
free. You
It's
just
free.
paid for your food.
Exactly.
So, highly recommend it. The Village at Glendale, 7145 North 58th Drive.
Good times.
Yeah.
Good times.
And I love the area. Those
Yeah.
old houses. And
Oh,
stuff.
those houses
my
are
gosh.
gorgeous. Yeah,
I was
definitely.
drooling over them.
Definitely a fun place to spend an evening. And because it was all outdoors, there were dogs there and kids. Just great for the family.
Yep.
Super, super fun.
It was fun.
Yeah, super fun. Well, Pat, again, I really do appreciate
Thank you, Pat.
being with us. Thank you
you.
so much.
wonderful.
And you can always follow Hot in Arizona on Instagram and Twitter. And don't forget, you can listen to us on Anchor, Breaker, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. And remember, you're watching this, you are watching on YouTube. So give it a like, subscribe, share it with your friends, because you never know who might need to hear this. You can follow
That's a
me,
lot to
Scarlett,
say.
at HeartPrinceAZ on Facebook and Instagram.
And meet Kelly on Facebook and Instagram. Healthy Heart and Happy Soul.
We hope everybody has a great week.
Bye.